I've been a registered Democrat like forever, right? And just watching everything that's going on with my Democrat Party and things that they are pushing, and that a lot of Democrats like myself are not really aligned with. It's crazy, and if you're feeling about it, you're mad, right? But let me say this: with this Charlie Kirk situation, I'm Jamaican originally, and my family, when it comes down to death, we don't play with death. And if you're on the islands, you understand. We respect the dead, and we always send dead off in the best way possible. But let me say this, man: what's been going on? A lot of liberals, when it comes on to this, is atrocious and it's horrible. And so many Democrats are leaving the Democratic Party and going over to the Conservative and Republican Party, all because of Charlie Kirk. So let me say this, y'all made a martyr out of this man.
Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. I got to talk about these Democrat voters. So, Democrat voters that are no longer Democrats, they are now either independent or have moved to the Republican Party. I have a list of clips that you are not going to want to miss. That's what we'll be talking about on Chat with me, Linda B. All right, Warriors, you know what to do. Don't forget to give me that thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, select all notifications. Stick around to the very end. Let's go. Former Democrat voters of all walks of life, Black, white, gay, straight, rural, urban, it doesn't matter. People have left the Demon Rat Party. I call them Demon Rats for a reason. And I'm going to let you listen to these clips. I'm going to come back for my commentary here and there, but I want you to listen that this is a movement. And even more so after the tragic death, the tragic murder of conservative person Charlie Kirk. Okay, Charlie Kirk, they thought they would silence his voice, but his voice is louder because there are lots of other people doing the same work. And now it has caused people to see how those on the left were celebrating this man's death have now left that party. They are no longer voting blue, no matter who.
Years ago, early summer 2022. And I left the Democrat Party after the election in November of 2024. Not just because Kamala lost, and I voted for her, but for many reasons. I'm someone who went to therapy and got sober because I got tired of repeating patterns of emotional and psychological self-harm. And I saw this cycle playing itself out again in people I loved, who I voted with. And they might stop loving me after watching my most recent videos. And that's okay, I understand. I know what it's like to have an idea of somebody and then have it shattered because I realized that we didn't share the same political values or views. I saw people on the left and liberals and moderate Democrats spiraling again, and I couldn't do it. For me, I couldn't do it. I saw them becoming more vicious, more angry, more hateful. I saw them attacking other people because of their weight, their skin, their hair, or lack thereof, their teeth. For the third time around, I saw them becoming the thing that they hated. Beyond that, after Kamala lost, I watched her walk away with a big smile on her face, which is fine. I think that when we lose or when we fail, I think there is something stoic and brave about doing so with a smile, with confidence, without shame. And for a time, I applauded her as someone who voted for her. But then here comes the book deal and the PR tour and the glowing interviews with a dash of the threat of authoritarianism. Then came the conspiracy theories, many of which I bought into because I was hopeful. I wanted people to be right. But when I left this app in March for Lent, I started leaning into my faith a little bit more. I'm a born-again Christian. I got saved when I was 12. Yes, I'm a gay conservative Christian. And I've had questions from both sides. How could you be? Why? Because it's who I am. I can't argue.
I want to say this. Let me just pause right here because this is brave of him to come out, as gay and everything. And, you know what the Bible says about that lifestyle, but he didn't say he was indulging or living that way. A lot of people are beginning to see that, wait a minute, the left side, they are cheering over a young man's tragic death, who his life was taken away from him in front of everybody, for the whole world to see. Now, you got to be able to look at this with a spiritual lens, somewhat of a spiritual lens. He said he started to dig into his faith a bit more, and God will reveal things to you when you do that. Okay. How in the world is this okay for us to actually cheer the death? Let me tell you why I believe it is. Because the Democrat Party, even those who may not know all the goings on of the Democrat Party, but still vote that way, y'all are not off the hook. Let me tell you something. This party, in a lot of people's opinion, is a death cult. You've got abortion. You've got fentanyl across the border. You've got terrorists, people who come from communist countries, bringing that way of thinking with them. This party has a history of bloody violence. So it goes to reason that they would care very little about life when someone is tragically taken away the way Charlie Kirk was. It makes them no difference because they already are the party who has no value for life. Oh, they'll put a slogan on something that sounds good, like Black Lives Matter. But at the same time, their actions don't show that Black Lives matter.
The death of Charlie Kirk has actually fundamentally changed the rules of the game, at least for me. I actually have never uploaded this type of content specifically to this TikTok page, and I'm actually resurrecting it because of the death of Charlie Kirk. Because back in 2020, I used to be on the other side. I voted for Joe Biden back in 2020. And then 4 years later, I voted for Donald Trump. And it's insane to me that a political party that says that they have my best interests in mind as an African American are willing to go to no end to destroy not only the things that I stand for, but the things that I believe in as a Christian, as a husband, as a father, and as a fellow American who loves this country and believes that the United States still is and has the potential to be the greatest nation on the face of the earth. Anything that the media says, believe the opposite, because that's where the truth actually lies. They tell you a vaccine is good for you, it's not. They tell you that Joe Biden is a good president, he wasn't. They tell you that Donald Trump is Hitler, he's not. They tell you that they're there to support the migrants and the Hispanics and the African Americans, but they're not. They say that they care about the working class, but they don't. Anything that they say, flip it upside down, and that's the actual truth. Think about it.
Before I go to the next clips, I got to say, I totally agree with that last man. And this is what I figured out too. Whatever the mainstream media tells us is the truth, believe the exact opposite. If they say this is good for you, then it must be bad. Oh, this is bad for you, then it must be good. Believe the exact opposite. That is what I have come to realize. You know what? Just believe the opposite. And that is where the truth lies.
Why I am no longer on the left, even as a lesbian. And yes, I'm going to read what I wrote down because it's quite a list. It has been maybe half a decade, maybe even more, that I've decided to leave the left, and this is why. What I have observed is that the community pretends to fight for inclusivity, diversity, and freedom. But I've seen with my very own eyes for years now that realistically they fight for one-way thinking, the demonization of specific groups that are other than them, and the cancelization of freedom of speech. They say they care about human life and people who are victims of war, but advocate for the killing of the most vulnerable type of human life form in existence. They fight against the legalization of guns, but cheer when guns are used to assassinate a man who simply had a different opinion. They cancel free speech under the label of hate speech, when often enough, it's not hate speech, it's just speech they hate. Not to mention the complete lack of self-awareness to go from saying somebody is speaking hate speech and follow up with saying some of the most disgusting and degrading things to humans I have ever heard. Don't even get me started on the GoFundMe that was made for the murderer of that innocent girl. There have been too many examples of narcissism, manipulative abuse, gaslighting, closed-minded and anti-growth promotions within the community that I'm very proud to say that as the first letter of the LGBT, being gay does not automatically mean that I have to share the same sickening, in my opinion, views as the left. Why would my sexuality, gender, race, or anything for that matter have to do with where I land politically? And quite honestly, I hear more LGBT members complaining about being misgendered than any other actual hate crime happening in the world. If being misgendered is your main point of how you're being oppressed in this country, I would consider you to be very privileged, because there are actual, real issues that need healing in the world more than your gender pronouns. My mind, body, and soul knows where love is, and I do not feel that in the community. Yes, there are positive and negative on both sides, but overall, I have been my most mentally healthy, happy, and filled with self-love person since I decided to think more for myself and not allow others to dictate what I should and shouldn't believe in order to fit their agenda. It is getting painfully obvious now that no one is going to be fucking with that energy anymore, and you guys are about to lose a large percentage of your community. I'm already seeing it everywhere online. Hopefully this is a wake-up call. You all need to look inwards. There's no shame in realizing maybe there are some things inside of me that need to be looked at and healed in order to be the best version of myself, and also therefore better for the people that are around me.
All right, there you have it. All sorts of people left the left. And like I said, people are realizing that this party is actually a bunch of gaslighters. I mean, they tell you one thing and they don't do anything. How do you think? I don't think the Democrats are going to learn. They've gotten away with not actually having policy for so long. Why start something new now? The only thing that they know how to do is not be honest when it comes to elections. Okay, think about 2020. Think about what I'm saying. The only thing they know how to do is race bait, divide and conquer, bring up grievances of the past. That is literally all they know how to do. This party has a history of violence. We don't even have I've gone over these things a ton of times, and they need a class of people to be dependent upon them. With people thinking freely and for themselves, there is no Democrat Party left, because too many people are waking up to the truth. And I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to do a separate video on this. President Donald J. Trump, you know what he wanted to do to the folks in the background? He wanted to dismantle them. And how you first of all do that is you secure the border. You bring back law and order. You get the institutions and judges in place that get your agenda done. You get religion back. These are some of the very things that will dismantle. Okay. Also, insider trading, like all of that with Nancy Pelosi allegedly. Okay. Secure the border. Stop having people come in this country illegally. Okay. The ones that are here illegally got to go. Okay. So then make your country safe, a strong military, Second Amendment right, First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights. You have free speech, freedom of religion, freedom to bear arms, all of that. And the lack of the the folks in the background being able to do insider trading and their whole way of getting money from these rich people, these ultra rich people that are funding certain groups, dismantling that. And these are all the things that President Trump is doing right now. He is doing the very thing to dismantle the folks in the background. And you know what I'm talking about. Secure borders, getting these illegals out with their different ways of thinking. They're not trying to assimilate. Strong military, freedom of speech, cleaning out the media, stopping the indoctrination, getting rid of a dependent class. When you get rid of all of those things, you've just dismantled the evil. And they are screaming louder than ever before. But no matter how hard they scream, how loud they scream, President Donald J. Trump is still the president. And the Democrat Party is bleeding voters. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Don't forget, I'm going to link another video at the end of this one that you need to go and check it out. Don't forget to like this video, comment, share, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Select all notifications. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors.